Welcome Ronak and Shri to our institution Finplan. We are very glad to have you all here today. Indeed, it's a great opportunity for us to collaborate with you all as a knowledge partner in facilitating the content and the US CMA approved content to the aspirants who are looking forward to take their future with the CMA qualification IMA. So thank you so much to take your time and building value with us. Ronak and Shri, I would like to understand from you all as to you've been into the education domain promoting the CMA qualification as well as being a content provider, as an approved content provider for CMA. What do you guys have understood so far as the market for US CMA? What is the growth and the opportunity for the US CMA aspirants? Where do you see US CMA is finding its catalyst role in building up the future of the students who are wanting to get into the finance profession?
So, Kashish, thank you for having us. And this is a very interesting question. US CMA is something which we can also refer as a global passport. Now, because it's from US, the quality is top notch. Whoever is pursuing US CMA, the acceptability is there globally. Now, in India market, since there are two papers, students can pursue that qualification within 12 to 18 months. However, even though there are two papers, it's not that easy. It covers 12 core competencies. Students have to write the exam at the Prometric Center. The 72% is the pass mark. And the skill set that student brings to the table is strategic thinking.
Right.
If students are interested to get into strategic level roles in the future, US CMA is the right qualification for them to pursue, because here in the qualification, they learn all about strategy, financial planning, investment decisions, risk management, ethics, so on and so forth. So it would be a 360-degree purview for the student to understand how the business runs. Now, in this role, the students have to take strategic decisions. So the CFO would rely on CMA inputs for them to give them the insights, think futuristic. What are the trends that they can expect that is going to happen in the future? So the data, the analysis that they do helps the CFO take the right decisions where the company is heading. So
Absolutely.
The role is very crucial for them.
Absolutely. And Ronak, indeed, I would suggest that, you yourself have come through an education domain, and most of the Indians today in the marketplace look forward for chartered degrees, and these certifications are something which are the most hotcakes for many aspiring professionals. What made you take up, a qualification like US CMA, although you were well settled within your career, and truly what was your experience in taking up something as this qualification? Has that brought something much more towards your career role, or is your career role more or less, the same?
Kashish, I can tell you that after I did my US CMA, my life has taken a 360-degree turn. How? My top 3 criteria were that whatever I do, it has to be globally acceptable. It has to be recognized internationally, and that has to be something from US. I was very sure of that. Second is, it should be done with a stipulated period, because I was a working professional. I did not have the bandwidth to invest 3 years, 4 years of my time and get that. So I wanted something which would be more like a plug and play for me, and from there I can build on. So this you can do within 12 to 18 months. 2 papers are there. Third is that I wanted to reach to the strategic level decision making roles. That was my mindset. So this was the right fitment for my aspiration and qualification.
In US CMA, Shri, you've been there since the very inception with HOCK International. Do you see an increase and a spike in the number of examinations or the number of people now accessing the HOCK International content? Coming from the last 5 years data, or maybe the 7 years data, how do you see the growth jumping up within the US CMA, and what are the key reasons why there are today more takers than before in the US CMA qualification?
Thank you. First of all, Kashish, I want to share my gratitude for having us for this podcast. In my last 1.5 years, I have seen that the craze for progression has increased.
Okay.
And why this has increased? Because the content that they are following is making them feel that confidence.
Correct.
So when I met Brian Hawk, one of the things that I felt is, you can also see our visiting cards, it says that our vision is to help the student understand the concept and succeed, pass the exam.
Right.
So when I read that, I could feel that, okay, this is somewhere resonating with my values.
Yeah.
When I am propagating a professional certification, what matters to me is, I enrolled Kashish today for the US CMA. I want you to succeed. I want you to progress.
Absolutely.
HOCK International plays a very big role here.
Right.
And Brian is very particular about the content.
Right.
One, the content is always updated.
Right.
Second, it solves any of the feedback or suggestions that is coming from whether it is the industry, the CFOs, or from the partners like you. You have the faculties, you teach the students.
Absolutely.
A lot of feedback comes from the faculty members. And also a lot of questions come from the students.
Absolutely.
We have a separate forum for the students and the teachers where they interact directly with Brian.
Absolutely.
And a lot of questions have been answered.
Right.
That is 24/7.
Absolutely.
Now, when you look at the kind of commitment that HOCK International has in developing the content and also delivering the content in a way that is more user-friendly for a student.
Right.
Now, if I am a student, I am logging into the HOCK LMS, the Learning Management System. And that is the reason we provide you with the training for the instructors who are starting the US CMA for the first time.
Absolutely.
So how does that feel like your mentor is connected with you?
Right.
Brian is helping you getting trained and then deliver the program to your candidates where you are the mentor for them.
Absolutely.
In your own style, you're able to deliver them. And
absolutely.
Here, the intention that Brian has, globally, the standard should be maintained.
Correct.
It shouldn't become like a Chinese whisper where the teachers are teaching USCMA in Mumbai differently, in Kerala differently, in other parts of India differently.
Shri, a very important part of our learning partner network like us at Finplan is how the resources support the tutors in terms of delivering the content to the end consumers. Often we find that the content which is well curated, at times it is very well understood to the tutor but not at the student level, and sometimes the vice versa. So what is your view on keeping this balance intact when it comes to the USCMA Part 1 and Part 2? Is the curriculum structured in a manner that helps the student not only build more greater pass rates but also penetrate their content in a manner that helps them get some financial insights on a particular subject or any of the modules of each of the parts, and at the same time the language being the most important part of the content, is the language in line with what a standard 12th pass would like to also understand, whereas somebody as experienced as Ronuk, who would also probably want to address the same content at a working professional level, he too probably can understand the same wavelength. So how are these parts of the content being taken care for the tutor, for the student, considering the language as the key part?
So as I mentioned about the schedule in which the LMS is framed. Now, one of the things here is when I am starting my program, I enroll with Finplan and you provide me with the HOCK materials.
Right.
I log into my dashboard and I can see that all the material is already there.
Right.
But I don't know where to start.
Correct.
So there is a guide already available there. It's like a kind of a personal assistant.
Right.
We can say that. It's called the pass map.
Okay.
So the pass map tool helps you to do that analytics, the dashboard.
Right.
So I know this week I'm going to give 3 hours of time for study.
Right.
This week plan is already there.
Right.
I complete my preparation.
Right.
Maybe I just go through a glance about all the topics and I come to your class.
Right.
And I sit in your class, I learn everything, I go back, I practice my questions for that particular unit.
Right.
So the unit is now complete.
Right.
Probably I have 4 questions. I come to you and I clarify that.
Right.
So this is how a day of a student is going to be.
Okay.
And once I complete a portion, my pass map tool is going to tell me I am 3% ready for my exam. And when I'm 80-85% ready for the examination, that
Right.
is when I'm going to take a mock exam from HOCK.
Wow.
So we from HOCK International are very confident.
Right.
A person who is genuinely taking the mock exams,
Right.
who has crossed 85-90% in the past map,
Right.
in our dashboard,
Right.
is able to clear the IMA examination. There are a lot of tools which is there in the LMS which will say that there is some questions I am attempting
Right. Some are
which
not
are
correct.
coming by fluke, may be correct,
Correct.
but actually my concept is not
Not
clear
correct.
there.
Oh wow.
So every time the dashboard is going to track those questions where my concept is not right,
Right.
and I'm answering correctly for one question and wrongly for another question,
Right.
and it is going to take me back and say that here is where your concept is weak,
Right.
go and get that right.
Wow.
So the dashboard is
Very truly aligns with our mission also at Finplan. Being a learning delivery partner for US CMA, IMA, and using a content with HOCK International gives us the same value objectives. The content should be in line with the learner's objective. The content should be comprehensive, as rightly mentioned by Ronak, and at the same time it helps the students to develop gap analysis and understand right at the grassroots level where the student is probably not going proper, and those could be the concepts that the tutor can identify very quickly in terms of where student is lacking, and those rectification helps the student to reduce the time, effort, energy in probably supporting where the gap is and increasing the pass percentage.
correct.
So this is truly magnificent and something very much effective that also has given us that confidence to use the content and provide our US aspirants the power of understanding how they can as quickly as they can able to pass and get the US CMA certification in place. So very well. So Ronak, you come from an employer experience, working for educational bodies like US CMA, IMA, and of course now with HOCK International. How do you see the employment perspective in the US CMA domain increasing?
You need strategic thinking and understanding of the entire business, right?
Right.
CFO has expertise in the financial
Right.
aspect and the health of the organization.
Right.
But they give inputs to the CEO that this is where the financial health of the organization is. But
Right.
what to do best with that help,
Right.
take those strategic decisions, is where a management accountant or a CMA qualified brings to that table. So just to answer your question, they would not be restricted only to a CFO, but they can become the CEO of the organization as well. Great qualification,
Right.
and the opportunities are ample.
Right.
It's just that students have to do that at the same time also work on the networking skill, which
Absolutely.
is also running hand in hand with the qualification that you do.
How do we believe as an aspirant, not getting into a US CMA and still believing that a certification from IMA for the US CMA with only 2 papers in a very concentrated manner is still enough for you to actually be in line with a finance team, with a functional finance team at a company front?
So I'll tell you an interesting story.
Yeah.
I was one of those aspirants that we were talking about. So I got sold for 2 papers. The advantage or disadvantage, however people want to see it, I see it as an advantage. Even though there are just 2 papers, if you look at the core competencies that each part covers, there are 6 core competencies each part. So it's equivalent to 12 papers.
Absolutely.
Now in the examination, 72% is the pass mark, right? So when a student is writing the exam, say for example any of the parts, the computer throws 100 questions at you. The tricky part is that you don't know from which topic that question has come, right?
Wow.
And you have about 1.5 minutes. What they say is that you can spend on each question.
Right.
So at the same time, you have to start thinking and seeing the question whether I should attempt that, flag it, move to the next question, go for the easy ones.
Right.
So all of this happens in your real life scenario as well. So
Right.
when a CFO enters to the office, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't get a problem announcing that today I'm an ethics problem or I'm an internal control problem or a risk management problem.
Right.
So his mind is attuned and he keeps getting bombarded with these questions. In the same manner, CMA tests you in the examination. So the question comes in, you don't know from which topic. So you're so used to that. So
Right.
you start performing from the very first day.
Right.
And it's a big myth that it is easy to do it.
Right.
But at this, I would say that it's entirely opposite. 72% is the pass mark.
But if you can highlight, how is HOCK International trying to curb on people, copying the content?
It could be challenging prior to HOCK International India incorporation, but once we incorporated the company in November last year,
Yeah.
2023. One of the aim and the discussion with the board was whether we have to have the physical material, yes or no.
Yeah.
Looking at the Indian sentiments, as you feel like students here want to, have that look and feel and touch for the physical book. They
Right.
want to go
Yeah.
wherever they want with the books.
Yeah.
Now, yes, digital probably learning is faster in digital, but
Yeah.
the students were more comfortable with the physical
Yeah,
book.
we like the smell of the book. We like to
Yes.
hold the book in our hand. The freshness excites psychology to learn more. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So during that trip when Brian was coming to India, I asked him to bring one set of US CMA from the US.
Yeah.
So he got that copy. So I had to feel and touch and see how the paper is,
Yeah.
how the copy is, how the cover page is. And I told him we will go for this.
Absolutely.
And we'll go for printing the HOCK material in
Right.
India,
Right.
and we'll give that in the printing cost
Okay.
to our students.
Wow.
So if you have students
Yes.
and they want the physical book, although it's not mandatory for them,
Right.
but if you have students who say that I want the HOCK LMS,
Right.
I want the physical book also,
Right.
they will be getting at the printing cost.
Right.
So there is no motivation for another student to use a photocopy,
Right.
but yes, have the original book. In the cover page, we have Brian's picture in it, so
Right.
the direct
Right.
connection that you have with the copy, the GSM is good,
Right.
it smells
Right.
good. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was talking about the same point, that this is exactly where a good strategic point from HOCK has
Yes.
reduced people actually copying, because the cost of the material is as equal as the cost of the printing cost.
Yes.
Absolutely, very well. So lastly, I think Shri and Ronak, we are very excited at Finplan to commence our journey of US CMA and building more value within the market at large, because our mission at Finplan is truly building a global finance professional. US CMA is one of the key launchpads that we see, and more as a strategic launchpad for aspiring graduates and undergraduates, and even people at the working professional front who would want to elevate their career. And nothing would make this experience of learning more exciting with the kind of content that we would want to enrich the minds of the students and enlighten them about each of the parts, part 1 and part 2, by referring to the HOCK International content. So we are very delighted to have you on board, and we are equally delighted to be on your panel as a knowledge partner taking this forward. Any message as a last token of a message to the student community at large from your end?
From my end, I think consistency plays a key role here.
Yeah.
What I would like to address, Finplan students is be consistent,
Right.
keep that momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Ronak, anything from your end?
So I would just like to tell the students that first and foremost, you have made the right choice to study US CMA.
All right.
You have made the right choice of studying at Finplan.
Right.
Third is that you have the best material in the world that you can use,
Right.
where the intent of the founder and the developer is to make you pass.
Right.
So you have the comprehensive material with the test bank, everything. Is just that a dedication from your end is required,
Right.
and the willingness is required from the student end that I want to pursue. You already have the best faculty teaching you for the US CMA, best material. It's just the dedication from the student. Genuine dedication is required, and the career is sorted for them. I can say that.
Absolutely. So genuineness, effectiveness, and I think both consistency. This is the key message from HOCK International representatives here today and our podcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this podcast, and looking forward for a great relationship ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.